Hey guys. Oh, I'm a little discombobulated this afternoon. My back, I pulled a muscle in my upper back or something. It's not not feeling so great. Ouch. How you guys doing? Ready for another marathon? Hopefully we get somewhere today on this thing. I will say that I've done a little bit of prep today. I need 08s and I don't have any 08s in this building. So, well, I do have these. These are TSOP packages, and I have little adapters, so I've made 08s in these little TSOP packages. I got a couple of those, and I had to actually desolder one out of a board. I am completely out of 08s. I went ahead and I got my programmer stuff out, and so I wanted to check these ROMs, and every one of these ROMs were bad. They were empty. They were F800 as a checksum, which means they're full of FF. They're just empty. Every one of them, and a lot of them came up with a bad chip select pin, so they're toast. So what I've done is I concatenated the ROM file, and I made a 256 Space Encounters, and that's what we're going to use. And I have this little adapter PCB. I have this little adapter PCB that I'm going to use, and so we'll do that. And if you would like, I'll go through and show you about how I put the ROM file together. If you don't know about that, I can go on the TV screen, the television screen, as Todd Tuckey would say. We can go on the monitor over here, and I'll show you how I put that ROM file together, the ROM ranges and stuff, if you would like. Hello, Arcade Eric. Good morning, everybody. Neil. Hello from Michigan, UK. And Marathon may have been a candy bar from the 80s. I'm not exactly sure. Hi, Rhett. How you doing? Hope you guys are all doing fine today. Like I said at the outset, I kind of pulled a muscle right between my shoulder blades, and it's very annoying. It's very, very, very annoying. So I'm going to take the camera, I'm going to put it over here so that you guys can see what's going on. Oh, my back. Oh, my back. Oh. So, where we left off yesterday on this board, and you can see I've removed all the ROMs because, like I said, I wanted to just go ahead and do a little bit of prep work type stuff before we started today, because I wanted to know, are my ROMs any good? And no, they are not. They are all bad. Every one of them. I got no data on any of those ROMs. They're toast. You can see I've already removed the 42 because I do not need the 42 because I'm using one ROM, so I don't need no select logic. So we need to, where we left off was we got these 08s, I need to get the pins out, and then we've got these 3 bad chips right here that need to go. So I'm going to start by just clipping these out. Ooh, my back. And let me know in the comments. Let me know if you want to want me to go over the ROM, because I took all 8 ROMs and put them into one file, and I'll go over how I did that if you are interested. If you don't know, I'm sure most of you probably know about that. I know just off the top of my head, I know what the ROM ranges are on this board, so it was easy for me to do. Hello, Peter. I'm glad you guys are liking the live streams, because live streams are easier really than making videos, because you don't, and not that I'm the greatest editor or do the most editing on my videos, but it's easier to do these lives. It's a little more candid. You get to see things as I see them. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, those two, and then this guy back here. Now it's time to pick some pins out. And I want to remove one of these. I think I'll do my ROM right here, maybe. I don't know. I guess I can do the ROM right here. I do want to replace this socket. This is where my ROM will go. You know what? Why does this have 28 pins? Is this... Can I just put a 28 pin socket in here? Is it... How interesting is this? Let me I might be able to just not have to run wires everywhere. Let me check out. Oh, this is probably going to not want to. I'm checking out the schematic, trying to get to the schematic, because I want to see, because this board, the ROMs have 28 pin positions. So can I just use a 28 pin socket and not have to wire like address bits 12, 13, and 14, or yeah, 12, 13, and 14, or what? What is the deal here? Come on, computer, please. This thing does not want to work when I have this going. Okay. All right. Address 14 comes off pin 39. Does that straight up go to here? Pin 39. No, it doesn't. 39 is address bit 14. No, that's address bit 12. 14 is right here. No. This is address bit 13, which would be F3 pin 6. Nope, it doesn't work that way. Unless what is this? Okay, this is 5 volts. This jumper is 5 volts. So if I was to jump, because this is supposed to be address bit 13, so if I find address bit 13, which is right here, this is address bit 13, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is equipped for this. Address bit 13 does not come over to this jumper area. Okay, well, so I am going to have to do some jumping around, it looks like. No, it has a 28 pin. I get my ROM files from MAME, Jackie. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to do wire jumping because it's not equipped for that. That would have been nice if it actually was wired for like a 256 or something, but it's not. So I will have to do a little wire hackery, which is not a big deal. It has a 28 pin socket, but it's not really useful. Ouch. It's not too useful. So now it's just solder pin pulling time. Good fun. Especially when they're all bent. So I have to run address bits 11, 12, 13, and 14 to my ROM PCB. We'll see how far we get in another 3-hour span here before I have to take another break. Hopefully we get this thing somewhat working, and I'm kind of afraid for the other board too. The other board's probably toast as well. The other board is probably quite toasty. Oh, I love the smell of this tarnish that's on these old Texas Instruments parts with the silver clad legs that get tarnished when you heat them with a soldering iron. If you know, you know. That smell is something else. What's everybody working on today? See you later, Senley. All right. Patzik, I think Senley took off. He said he'd be back a little bit later, though. He's heading home. I think he had to do dinner and all that good stuff. Making dinner for the kids. What's for dinner, Patzik? I remember those days. I miss those days, kind of. Having all the kids at home. Sounds good. I know, that's it's ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous how this one's going. The whole board's going to be rebuilt. Yeah, Patrick. I'm worried about those. I'm worried about those RAM. Those things are terrible. They're they're usually a problem. We'll see. We shall see. Alright, I got all the solder cleaned up, I think, pretty decently. Now it's time for the desoldering gun. I always tell myself I should have had this heating up while I was doing that, but I never do. I always have to give it a few minutes. Oh. So for a little bit. You know what I was thinking, Patsik, is these boards with these DRAMs, you can use 4116 with these 4164s. It would be kind of nice to make some kind of adapter or something, because those are a little easier to find than these. Or just completely repop this board. You know, someone was talking yesterday that they had done that, but I would do it, and I would redo it to use different RAM. These RAMs, like you said, they're getting a little scarce. You make a board in this form factor and have it use 4116 or 4164. You know. These I don't know what you mean, Patsik. These are 2107 or something like that. The 2107 RAMs. They're 1-bit DRAMs. I know that on some of the Space Invaders, the Taito Space Invaders games, they actually use 4116 instead of these. So you can use either or. You'd have to look at the, I don't know if one of them has more addressing, or I don't know. I think the 4116. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. But yeah, you could use one in place of the other. Is they do that. Taito does that. Some of their boards use 4116. Some of them use these 2107s. This thing keeps unplugging. Plugging and unplugging and plugging and unplugging. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, some of those old Taito Space Invaders games used 4116. And Yeah, so these 2107s are a 1-bit DRAM, and if I'm just off the top of my head, I think they use seven address bits maybe, or 6. I'm not exactly sure. But you'd be able to use a 4164 for sure, and 4116. I don't know about. I think they have 7 address bits as well, 0 through 7. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure that you could make that swap. I know they both have. They both have to where they have data input. They both have data input and data output. It's not shared. It's not a common I/O pin, and that's important with those RAMs. I have not been able to find a way to make, like, I've tried to use 4416 44. I've tried to use 4116 or 4416 DRAMs in place of 4116s and use 4 bits instead of the 1 bit. But the 4416 has a common I/O pin, and I have not been able to make it work. With I thought it seems just as easy as putting a like a 244 in between or whatever, but it just doesn't work. And it's just the internals of the RAMs with the I/O pins. It's hard to understand how to get that to work right, and I'm sorry, but my audio keeps cutting in and out and in and out, and I don't know why, but it's pretty annoying. I'll see if I can't fix that. just more reason why I need a wireless solution to this. All right. I do want to spray these down a little bit and kind of get a second opinion. Come on. Yeah, you'd have to look at. So the 2107 doesn't have row and column lines. It doesn't have a row pin and a column pin, row and column select pin. Oh. Okay, socket time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you'd have to. I have the schematic, I believe, for the Taito version that has the 4116s. I would have to look at it. I'd have to look at it and see how they did it. There has to be some extra added circuitry. It'd be interesting to check it out. Get these installed. Maybe they use the extra address lines as column select or row select or something like that. Who knows? Right. Let's do this. That's pretty cool, Patzik. That sounds like something good. Okay. And one more. And one more. I'm going to use a machine pin socket for the ROM. Being that I'm using machine pin headers for the little ROM PCB. Okay, there's that. Those sockets are done. I'm going to hold off on that ROM socket. I'm just going to hold off on that for now. So I need, my 08s. Let's put this guy right here. I had to, and I got these two that I will put here and here. Ouch. There we go. 08, 08, 08. I need two of these 82 T16s or whatever, and a 32. Okay. I got my two 8T16s. And I got a 32. Well. Well, we don't have ROM, but I'm still gonna plug it in and see if we at least get some junk on the screen now. Because remember, before we had nothing on screen. It was because this 32 here, which drives the video out, was stuck high. Okay. And I'm not really going to worry about the reset circuit right now. This thing's not going to run. And let's see if I can get a better view of. Let's come around. There we go. You can see the screen now. All right. And we need to get this stuff hooked up. I am probing this, my little 08s. That is the pulled high line. That is the address from the CPU, and here is my output from my chip. So we are looking very good now on these. And I do have garbage over on the screen. I need to adjust the sync, it looks like. Alright, let me give you a look at the screen, show you what it's doing. Yeah, Patsik, this thing's not going to run because there's no ROM in it. But this is what my monitor is doing. So yeah, looks like it every now and again doesn't want to vertically sync. So we have maybe a sync issue, possibly. Yeah, so not a whole lot going on yet. At least we got something. At least it's kind of looking like signs of life, right? Well, like I said, there's no ROM in there, so I'm not really too crazy worried about things. I kind of want to bring up the schematic, and I want to look at the video area of the schematic. Let's do this. Let's turn this off so that you can see the screen. This is the sync chip right here. And this guy. follow the signal over. It now goes up and it goes through AX. It goes through this OR gate that I replaced. And goes to B7, which is 0, 0. And we are, where's that sync signal? I don't see it. B7, 10, 9 out to 8. B7. Zero and 0. That's kind of strange. B7, 9 and 10 are both low, so the signal coming out of this 55 pin 8 is low. No, it's not. Oh. Now I don't know exactly what this signal is supposed to. Is this 1, 3, 4, 2? 1. Oh boy, yeah, 1's floating. Pin 1 is floating on that. This pin 1 right here coming into this is floating. Yeah, see this right here. Pin 1 is floating. So what does pin 1 go to? Well, yeah, it's up here, and it's A574. A5, which I've replaced that, didn't I? This chip does not look right. Yeah, that's not right. I think we got a bad 74 somehow. My chip. This 74 doesn't look good at all. Let's replace that. That's very strange. Very strange. Okay, new 74. Let's pop that in the board. A5, turn it on, and let's probe that. Do we get anything better looking? We get the same crap. Okay, that. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, A5 pin 8 goes to E7, which I've replaced, and it comes over here as well. Pin 9 was the bad one though, wasn't it? Oh, I gotta do it again. Let me reprobe this. Pin 9 is the floater. and pin 8 looks okay. So pin 8 goes to this chip that I've replaced, and goes to BX, which I've already said I thought was good. Now pin 9, which is the bad looking signal, goes to E7, as well as this chip that I've replaced, and it goes through the 74 pin connect, the 72 pin connector. So I'm going to remove the board. I'm going to remove that backboard and turn this on. Now I know this won't hardly do anything like this, but there, yeah, B5 now looks perfectly fine. Yeah, see, I've removed this board right off of here, and now when I probe B5, it looks fine. Remove this chip, put mine back in here, the original one that I had in there anyway, and now probe it, and you can see it looks fine. And now my garbage looks more like garbage that you'd expect to see. From a Midway board. Yeah, this is what you would expect to see. So this board, guys, is toast. Oh, son of a gun. I think we got decent logic on this board now. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay now. Yeah, it's not doing anything, but we are getting decent signals now. So yeah, we've got a bad board here too. Unfortunately. So let's turn that off. I want to get this out of here. I think we might be decent with this board, other than this, of course. Who knows about the RAM? And unfortunately, these board sets, without this complete board set together, you can't really test anything. You can't do nothing with them. So, you know what I want to do is let's try this. Let's try putting this to ground. Which, where is ground? This is ground, right? Yeah. And I'm just going to go through, put my red probe to ground, and I'm just going to kind of probe around on this board and see if I can find some just shorted pins to ground. I need to find the 174s because that's what clocks the data into this board and stuff. These 174s. That don't look good. That's pretty much a dead short. Unless this is 5 volts. It's not. Yeah. Yeah, I think this chip's bad. Or that's just tied to 5 volts. Yeah. It looks as if we have another bad board. Wow. Well, how am I going to handle that? You know what I want to do? Let me check. What does 5 volts to ground look like on this now? Looks exactly the way I would expect to see it. Now, when I probe from red lead on ground to my 5 volt rail, I get that 0.149, which is way more what I would expect to see from 5 volts to ground. So I'd say that this board is probably pretty healthy now. Possibly. This board, 5 volt to ground, I'm still getting where is 5 volts on this? Where does it come across? This is ground, I think. Yeah, that's ground. So 5 volts to ground. Five volts to ground, I'm getting this at 0.001. So yeah, this board's definitely not good. I guess just put this thing together and start probing around on this board, or I can do the old heat test. Maybe the superheat was coming from here, because when this I've always had this plugged into the main board when I've measured it from ground to 5 volts. So maybe something on this board will really heat up, and I can find a shorted pin or something like that. Let me see what. Let me get my angle brackets and put this board set together. Okay. You know what? Let me just do this. I brought my power supply. It's right here. I brought it in this room. And what I'm going to do is just see if I can put 5 volts in this thing and see if anything gets hot. Current. Let's try this. No current going through. I don't know. This doesn't seem to be doing anything. Let me try this other. This is current. Five volts. And this little thing's taking 3 amps of current. Oh yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. Yeah, this 105 is turning into a oven, or 109. This guy's turning into an oven. 5.2 volts on this board right now, and it's ouch. Oh boy, that one's hot too. At 90. 5.2 volts, it's 3.7 amps. Ouch. Right now I've got 5 volts on the board, and it's running 3.7 amps. I've got 2 that are fire hot. None of the other ones don't feel. Ouch. Ouch. That one's fire hot. That one right there is also fiery hot. This one's pretty hot. But that's a 161. Those actually run hot. It's not fiery hot. But it's pretty darn hot. I'm going to put a mark on it. Just in case. And the others seem fine. So I'm gonna crank this down, turn it off, and I'm gonna cut these chips off. I'm gonna cut these chips off and kind of document what they are. This is a 109. This is a 7450. And this is a 74, 74. Now I'm just curious to see what my reading is now from ground. Let's see, what will the reading be now from ground to 5 volts? Yeah, it's came up a little bit. Remember, it was 0.001. Still not good. I am going to remove this 161. So there's still bad stuff on here, but at least I got some of those gone. So we still have shorts, but at least I'm happy that we don't. We've at least got rid of some of the super hot chips. I'm going to go ahead and pick all those out. And then we'll put the board set together. I'll put the angle brackets on it so I can flip it over. And I want to start just probing chips and finding obvious bad chips. We got all the fire hot chips off the board, though. I'm happy about that. At least start there. At least get it to where the board will run. You know what I kind of want to do? I know that a lot of these signals are pulled high through resistors. I kind of want to remove the resistor, the pull-up resistors, so that I can actually check all of these chips in circuit. Just probe from ground to the pins and see if I see anything that looks. Everything should look like a diode drop, pretty much. We have a lot of things that were blown to ground on this board. This board set. Well, I couldn't get a full 5 volts on it, Patrick. I could not get a full 5 volts on this, and it was obviously running at pulling way more amperage than it was supposed to. So it wasn't running is I guess the correct answer. The thing wasn't running. Well, I guess I might as well get out the desoldering gun again. Ouch. Get these cleared out, and then we'll put this thing together. Hey Ted. Oh, I've replaced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm getting ready to replace 4 more. Good fun. What can you do? All right. Got the board kind of ready to go. So let's remove this. Uh-oh. Yikes. Ouch. I just want one. All right, more sockets. Oh, yeah, Patsy. Luckily, these boards are pretty easy to work on. The problem with these boards that a lot of people get in trouble with is they are not easy to desolder because the solder's so old and oxidized. It just doesn't want to flow. So it doesn't remove very well. That's why it's better to just clip the pins out or clip the chips out, pluck the pins out, and then do a good job of cleaning the solder really well. I normally do on both sides of the board. I only did it on one side of the board that time, and it did not want to desolder hardly at all. Get this thing put back together again, and then we will once again fire it up and see if, come on, darn it. See if we can find obviously bad chips. Okay. All right. Solder time. Well, I've had boards where they just did not want to desolder at all. Flux or no flux. All right. So we had a 74, a 161, a 190, or a 90, and a 109. Okay. All right, so here are the 74, the 161, 109, and this must be the 90. You know what I need to do is I need to look at the schematic. And remember that one pin 9 from that 174 was goofy? So we might as well figure out what that connected to, because whatever that connected to was wrecking that signal. So let's go to here. And what was that? Pin 9, right? Is that 8 or 9? I think this one right here. Vert blank. V blank. It's V blank. Well, that makes sense of why we didn't have sync that when that was going to this, right? V blank. Yeah, V blank. So let's try to find V blank on the other schematic sheet, which is, I don't know exactly where it's at. Right here. Let's try to find V blank. So far I don't see V blank. Oh, what's that? Sync and video. Whoa, what just happened? Come on. Stupid. Yeah, I don't see V blank on this board anywhere. Where's V blank? There's HV blank. There's the data bits. V, is this V blank? What's this? VB. Reset. Sample. Hold. No V blank. Alright, what pin is it? It is pin blob. Is that 8? Vert blank. Sample address reset DO through D5 DS. Maybe this is it. VB. That might be it. Following it, and it goes to the SO4 at N4. So that is suspect. And it goes to more places than that. It also goes to the 191 V blank, and it goes to 298, a couple of 298s. Excellent. All right. All right. Hello, Claudio. All right. So, what was it? It was SO4, and that's probably what was dead. And also a couple 298s and a 191. There we go. Right after splotch and chicken scratch. Yes, yes. Pin blob. Come on now. Come on now. Don't be giving me this hard of a time. There's no need to be giving me this hard of a time. Nobody likes an impossible board set. Okay. So here's what we'll do. We'll take this, we'll plug this in, and we shall do this. Like so. There we go. Now we're ready to do a little probing. On you go. Okay. You can see this back here maybe a little bit. Ground. We needs to grab ground. I would take it that this is ground. And 5 volts. Looks good. Good-oak. Let's see if I can't do this. This is a 74. Outputs are both high. Why are both outputs high on a 74? Let's see. Data, no clock. And both of the outputs are high. Boy, that don't look right, does it? I'm going to call that bad. Let's call that one bad. You want to? Where's my little... Where is my red marker? Red marker, where did you go? Red marker. Right off the bat, I'm going to put a red dot on that one because it just don't look right to me. I mean, come on. It's supposed to be complementary outputs, right? This is a 153. It actually looks like a signal. And that looks like a signal. Signal, 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 signal. Okay. Let's look at this. I'm randomly probing. Uh-oh. A float and a float are a 1. And we have a float output on this 0, 0. Uh-oh. Yeah, I know. Let me see if I can move the scope a little bit for you. How's this? That ain't gonna work either. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better, right? You kind of see the scope, can't you? I gotta try to keep out of the way. Anyway, going back to that 0, 0, we had this as an input, this is an input, and this is the output on a 0, 0, so that's no good. And this is a, what is this chip? $74.75. Here's voltage. It looks like it's floating. $74.75. I don't know if that's really a $74.75, to be honest. It's a $74.175. They're 175s. With 175s with no complementary outputs. They're high all the time. That's kind of weird, ain't it? Hmm. $191. Yeah, these 175s. This one, all of the outputs are floating on this one. That's definitely no good. And this other one, everything's high, I think, was what I saw. This one right here. This is the input to it, which is high, and then the outputs are both high. And these are supposed to be complementary outputs. Every output on this chip is high. That's no good. What do we got here? This is a 7438, which looks like a 00. Those are floating. 0, 0 should be high. Yeah, that's floating. That's no good. See that? Gross. We have a float. A float should be low. It is. And we have a high, and a high should be low, and it is, but this one's no good. So we have another bad chip. 00. This is a 74, another 7438. And it should be low, and it is. High, high should be low. This one should be high. You need 2 ones. 2 ones to get a 0, so this one should be high. As long as this is pulled high. Now these might, it's open collector output. So these are either pulled high. Open collector outputs need an external pull-up resistor. So I don't want to just assume that this is bad right now. I need to look at the circuit. Let's move on. I'll come back to that one. This is a 02. Should be low, and it is. Should be low. It is. This one should be low, and it's not. 7402. If either of these inputs are a 1, the output will be low. And we have an input that's high, and then we have a high output when it's supposed to be low. High. This one should be low. It is low, but that chip's no good. You got a bad output. Now, is something holding it high like that? I doubt it's holding it like that. I think that's probably just dead. Okay. 74S89. That's actually a RAM. We'll come back to that. I'll probably just have to remove that and test it. We just lost our video. So something... Well, I think it's my edge connector. It is. It's acting goofy. Yeah. Oh well. And moving on. This is a 157. We have a floating select line. I'll just look at the outputs and make sure they're not floating or whatever. We're selecting 1 basically, so 0, 1. This one should be low. And it is. 0, 1. This one should be high. And it is. 0, 1. This one should be high. And it is. And this one should be high. And it is. Here's our 191 counters. A 191 counter. And we have a floating input there. That's just an input though. Here's another 0, 0. We got should be low, and it is. Low, low should be high. High, high should be low, and it is. And here we have an 0, 8. High, 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 float, high. This should be low, and it's floating. This should be high, but this one's bad. We have a high and a low, so it should be low. It's an AND gate, simple AND gate, and it's floating. So that one's bad. Okay, moving on. We have another AND gate. This one should be high, and it is. This one should be high, and it is. This one should be low, and it's high. A high and a high. I'm sorry. High and a high should be high. Then we have a high and a high should be high, and it is. Okay. Then we got our 153s here. Selecting 3, 1, 1. So that is this floating output, so it should be high, and it is. And this one should be high, and it is. Okay, this one should be high. This one should be high. what is this? Oh, it's another RAM chip. Well, that'll be tested separate. 153 again. Once again, we're selecting 3. So this one should be low. It is. This one should be low. And it's floating. This 153 is no good. Okay. 83. I'm just going to go through and probe. I think it's 6, 2 or 1, 15 maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember what the output bits are on this. $191. There's another 191. I'm just checking the output bits, and this one's kind of floating. I don't like that. This is one of the output bits for this 191. High, 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 float. I don't like that, so that's going to get replaced. Here we have a 298, which is a mux. And I don't know the pin out to this mux. And we have a floating line there. And that one don't look good. Another 191 with a floating output there. That's floating, floating. So this 191's completely dead. Completely dead. My, whatever this chip is, this 90 is really hot. Why is that like that? I wonder. Here's another bad looking 191. Here's another 298, and there's a 161 with floating outputs. That's a 161 with floaters. And moving on over here, we have here a 163 with floaty looking outputs. See that? They kind of floaty too. I'm going to call that one dead. $17 is just a driver, and it's hard to tell. Here's a 174. which it's hard to tell because there's no signals. Uh-oh. This one is super hot right here. This one at least is super hot. Here's a 42. All the outputs are high. That's actually a good sign. We have 1, 1, 0, 1, which would be, number 12 is the highest bit. So 1, 0, 1, 11. So that basically, all of the outputs would be high. And they are. So that's actually kind of promising. Here we have a $7404. Float, 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 float. Is that a 7404? I think it is. I think that's an 04, right? I'm having a hard time seeing it. Oh, well, whatever it is, ouch. Burnt me. 161s. 1, 1. Ouch, this, whatever this is burning me. I'm being burnt by the resistor pack. Why is that resistor pack so hot? All right, so got a lot of work ahead. A lot of tearing down this board set even further. So, hey Todd, how's it going? Let's see, is this thing actually... All right. And it is time to just remove more chips. Okie dokie. Well, Wonko, I've already thought about that, and I am going to talk to the owner of this board. I'm going to have a talk with them that they need to send me their power supply. So, I've already thought about that. We're not going to let that happen. You know what I need to do? I need to... Alright, I need to just make a list of what's here. 5, what is that? B? R? R5 is a 191. Okay. M5, 191. L5, 191. J5, 161. G5 is a 163. L4, 153. R3 is an 02. P2, 38. M2, 175. K2. And J2, 00. K3, 08. G4, 74. I think these 17s are probably all bad too because of how hot these resistor packs we're getting. These resistor packs should not be that hot. So I would say one of these 17s, because that's what's pulling the outputs of the 17s up. And it's probably pulling them to ground or something like that. Who knows? Anyway, A4 is, I think, the 04. And that might be the 04 that signal went to that was all goofed up, right? Possibly. And then 174 at B5. Boy, that's a lot. It's a lot of junk. Anyway, I want to take a look and just keep tabs of how, I just kind of want to keep tabs of how this works. There it is. That's +5. Okay. Oh, it came up a little bit. That one was definitely short of the ground. Oh boy, we're coming up. I'm going to remove these 117s because of the fact that these resistor packs were hot. These resistor packs should not be hot if they're not being driven at all. And at this point, I'm just like, you know, whatever. I Ooh, we came up to 10. Ooh, up to 14. Ooh, up to 18. Hmm, 18 still. Sitting at 18. Alright, where are we now? Oh boy, we're coming way up. Still not where I would think that we'd see. I bet you all of these 174s are blown up. Yeah, that is that. From ground to pin number 1 of yeah, I'm curious. I'm just looking for that really low reading. And whatever I find that really low reading on, I'm clipping. Or removing. I don't know if it's over on this. I am just simply looking for pins that are basically short to ground, and when I find them, I will clip it. That's 5 volts. I'm glad that now I have a discernible difference between 5 volts and this short. That is ground. That's a 153. It probably has a grounded input. And that is ground because it's always enabled. What else is pulled high? Anything on one of these? Uh-oh. Oh, that's probably 5 volts, yeah. That's ground. It's grounded. It's ground. Bunch of grounded inputs. Hmm. Five volts. Ground. Grounded input. Yeah, these are all just, they got grounded inputs and stuff. 191. That ain't it. 7489. I don't know. Does this have anything pulled high? It's grounded. Okay. Okay, what is... One of these is holding that line. Something's connected to that. There it is. There it is. It's this 38. Let's clip that. Let's see if that goes to a normal or reading. No, it's still. Okay, this is the pin. The actual pin on that chip is basically grounded. But now, so is there another? Is this chip just completely... Let's remove that from ground. What is connected to that? That has got that so close to ground. And that comes up to here, and then that goes from there to there, which that's already removed. This doesn't make any sense. This thing should not be connected to ground whatsoever. This is ground. This is the 5-volt rail. And this is that pin. Why is that so close to ground? It looks like I've got it completely disconnected from the circuit on the board, and it's short to ground somehow. Okay. Unless maybe that's it right there. Yeah, there it goes right there to there. And then it comes up here and hits this 161 right here. And both of these 161s. And we have a 138. So there's two 161s right here. At this point, we might as well just... One of them's bad because one of them's pulling that line to almost a complete short to ground. So I'm going to assume that both of them are bad. Hey, look at that. We are disconnected from the circuit. It is no longer showing that short to ground. What a debacle. What a debacle this board is. No more. No more near short to ground. Now what is our 5 volts? We got 0.036. That's still pretty low. Like on this board, we've got on the 5 volt rail, we've got 0.153. There's something on here is still not right. Let's see if we can find a low reading to 5 volts. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty well shorted to ground right there. That's not good. Where's that coming from? I bet you that's a data bit. Hmm. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Hmm. Got most of the board cut off. I think that all of these 174s should probably be replaced. If one's bad, they're probably all bad at this point. Hmm. Oh, taking that RAM out jacked it up quite a bit. That RAM, who knows if that's any good. Hmm. Hey, we've been on Arcade Fix. No, I do not charge by the hour, but I do charge by the part. I have a flat diagnostics and bench time fee, and then I charge by the part. So each one of these chips is adding up. So that's how I do it. Trust me, it'll be worth my time. I'm thinking about just replacing every chip on this board at this point. Look at this thing. You know what I mean? I'm kind of thinking maybe I should just replace everything on here at this point. something on here is killing this board. It's got too low of a resistance to ground. Later on this evening or tomorrow or something, I am going to just replace all of this, and I'm not going to do that on camera. I'm just going to go through and do this board, and then when I come back on camera, we'll basically be in the phase of troubleshooting, because this is just replacing parts, and we can all do that, but this board is just that bad. Everything's dead on this board, it seems. Okay, now I have 5 volts going through this, and it's drawing 300 milliamps. So it's not really drawing anything now, so maybe this is Okay, now this thing says it's drawing no amps. And it jumped up to 0.86. Yeah, it's drawing a little bit at 5 volts. It's drawing 250 milliamps. $250 milliamps. Yeah. What a mess. Look at that. All right. So I'm going to end this stream. And what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to do this board. And then when I come back, maybe this evening or tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow morning, because this is going to take a while. Then we'll hook up and be able to go through and start testing everything. But right now, I mean, I got to go through and do this. So kind of a pain in the butt. But it is what it is. What can you do? Hey, Steve's. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's pretty boring live stream. It's just all going through and picking parts off of this board. And this board's a mess. This whole thing is a mess. So, it sucks though. But, whatever. I bet you now I could actually plug this in and I could do fluke checks on the RAM. Because this isn't going to corrupt. You know what? Alright, before I end the stream, let's do that. Before I end the stream, let's try hooking up the fluke and doing RAM checks. See how bad the RAM are. Be right back. this on here. Probably just to protect these pins. Uh-oh, pod timeout. Did I not hook something up correctly? Power on. Odd timeout. Power failure. Unit under test. Darn it. -5. 12. Power looks good. Why I don't get this? Unit under test, power fail. Yeah, it won't do nothing. It won't do anything. All right. Won't do a darn. Won't do a darn thing. course, this thing decided to take a tumble. All right, so why aren't you doing anything? All right. Well, apparently you do need some circuitry on this to run the fluke. So I can't do that. I'm going to have to rebuild this board and then go from there. So I'm going to do that off camera. I guess I should put this on when I'm talking. Apparently you can't do fluke tests. There's circuitry on this back board that interfaces with the CPU or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to have to do this off camera separately and then come back. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to start working on this board and go from there. So when I do come back on live, this board will be complete and done, and then we'll be ready to move on to test these RAMs. All right, so I'm going to end this one. It's been a long stream. We've been 3.5 hours, so I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me, and yeah, we'll pick up at a later time. So y'all enjoy your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, and bye.